Coming up, we got to talk about the nicest guy in the MCU, Frank Castle himself. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sacred Rewatch, where we are rewatching every project in chronological order in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, leading up to the big one, Avengers, Doomsday, and Avengers Secret Wars. Like I said, I'll be 34 when that movie comes out. Each week, we go through the MCU in chronological order, so you don't have to. If you're enjoying the journey, make sure to subscribe and drop us a 5-star rating on whatever podcast platform you're listening to. Today, I am joined by Wyatt.
What's going on, everybody?
And our resident philosopher and tech guy, Brody.
Hello, everyone.
How we doing? How we doing this week?
Doing fantastic.
Give us a fun nugget of what's going on in your life that somebody wouldn't realize what's happening when the recording ends. Something.
Probably just because of the gap in time in between videos.
Uh-huh.
This is the same day that the Mandalorian video came out. Like, that's how these recording schedules work.
Yeah, we're going to try to get that a little bit more up to date because I feel like this episode, kind of wild how this show kind of relates to real life. We're going to talk about that later. Wyatt, are you still there?
I was typing in the chat. I really have to go pee. I'll be right back.
All right.
He's the Penisher.
I know.
That's him.
We'll take a quick break and then we'll come right back. All right, we're back. Wyatt, let's rank the potty break on a scale of 1 to 10.
6.
Was it a little rushed?
It was a little rushed. I thought the rising conflict was pretty good, but I thought the conclusion could have used a bit of effort and maybe a bit more work. The conclusion was rushed. I'll tell you that much for sure.
Yes. So far on air and off air, we've talked about the bathroom and we've talked about Star Wars. While we were taking our break, actually no, you did talk about it while we were on. Go check out the Mandalorian video. Brody did a great breakdown of that trailer. What's happening? I know Brody is very, very excited about that movie. Maybe not excited. Maybe just antsy to see what the product is. Right? Is that a better way to describe it?
Anything that's Star Wars and moves, I will watch and I will have a good time. At least the first time I watch it. Then after, I'll reconsider things. But the first time I watched it, I'm like, "Ooh, pretty colors, lightsabers." You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, hey, if you're watching this and you're in for the MCU and you feel like this channel's lacking Star Wars content, leave a comment down below. Let us know. If you want more Star Wars content, that's something that we can arrange. So just let us know. All right, guys. I want to put a disclosure out there. I kind of alluded to it earlier. It's kind of odd how we watch this show, and we've talked about it in the last couple shows and movies, how the MCU kind of reflects real life. And I was literally watching the show when the news came out. I won't talk about it too much in depth, but I just want to put it out there. Violence is never the answer. So as we're talking about, a very violent show, probably the most violent show we'll watch. Just make sure that this is a entertainment purposes, and we're simply just having fun here. So just wanted to put that out there. All right, let's talk about the fun stuff. Wyatt, how do you feel about the show? I know you were really looking forward to this. How are you feeling now rewatching it?
I like this show a lot. This one has I don't know what the right word is, but this one gets a little bit more of a boost than the other Netflix shows do in terms of my fandom for it, because this is one of the few that I've rewatched relatively often.
Uh-huh.
I've probably seen the first season of Punisher. It's probably my 4th time, like actually watching the whole thing through. So obviously, I'm not biased per se, but I do like this show a lot, and it's one of my favorites from the Netflix kind of like universe for sure.
Absolutely. Would you say that this is probably your second most rewatched Netflix show besides Daredevil?
Oh yeah, if we're taking Daredevil as a whole, like 1, 2, and 3 as a continuity, Punisher is 100% my next rewatch show. Yeah, I don't
What
really bother to rewatch the other ones at all.
would you say Punisher? We can talk about it more once we start actually talking about the show. But would you say you watch this season more than one of specifically the other Daredevil seasons, or no? You said would you rank all the
Well,
other Daredevil
usually
seasons above the Punisher?
this is how it goes. I watch the Netflix shows the way people watch Lord of the Rings, right?
Hmm.
So I would start with your
So
Fellowship
not
of
at
the
all.
Ring.
That's at least for me.
No, hey. So
That's crazy.
your Daredevil season 1 is your Fellowship of the Ring. So I start with my Fellowship, and I watch Daredevil season 1, and I'm like, cool, all right. And then I go on to my Two Towers, and then I watch season 2 of Daredevil, and then I'm like, damn, this Punisher guy's pretty cool. So go on, I watch season 1 of Punisher, and then at that point, I'm like, damn, I've watched a lot of TV, and then I usually never go watch the last one, being Daredevil season 3 and Punisher season 2. I usually get kind of like burnt out by the time it comes to those in my rewatch.
Okay, all right, Brody. Have
Yes.
you seen Punisher before? I don't know if we've covered this.
Nope.
Have you seen this show before? No. All right.
Nope.
Okay.
No.
Well, you're probably in the same boat as I. So let's just get to it. Let's do our score reveals. Brody, I want to start with you.
Yeah.
What did you give it out of 25?
So out of our scoring thing, it ended up getting an 18 out of 25.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's. I don't know what that compares to the other Netflix shows. I like this one way more than the other Netflix shows.
I was gonna say
But it's
back
just
to
when
my
it came
memory,
down to the scoring thing.
going back to my memory, I want to say that this is one of the higher ones you've had.
Yeah, I think so.
you may
for
have
sure.
ranked Daredevil season 1 or 2 probably in the 20s.
I think 2 is pretty high.
But Wyatt, what about you? You seemed disgusted by Brody's score.
Yeah, I gave it a solid 20.
Okay. Any
I kept trying to put
reasoning? I
stuff
know you
around.
just talked about it for a minute, but
Let me think. Let me go double check why I knocked her down some points. I feel like it kind of suffers from what the other Netflix shows all do. Besides Daredevil, is it has a bit of a weaker sound and score per se, compared to what we're used to for Netflix shows, and the iconic moments necessarily aren't really all there. Because I think there's a big difference with. Sorry, hiccups. There's a big difference between an iconic moment and a good moment, you know? Like, just because a moment's not
Yeah.
iconic, it doesn't necessarily take away from the moment. There's plenty of great moments in this show, but iconic, I don't know if they're iconic, you know?
I'll tell you
Like,
what, there's
That's how I was
a
feeling about
memeable
it.
moment in this show for sure.
There's a lot of
There
memeable
is.
moments. See, those are iconic. Honestly, the iconic moments from this show come from the memes. But like in that first episode when Frank, right, that's at the time going as Pete, has lunch with the younger guy at work who's kind of like in with the jerks, and he gives Frank the sandwich after they step on a sandwich. Like that's a good moment. That's a really great scene, but I wouldn't really call it an iconic moment, you know.
Those were the best sandwiches. Something like that. That's what the
His
dialogue.
grandma makes the
was.
best
Something like
sandwiches,
that.
yeah.
Well,
I don't know.
Wyatt, don't hate me. I gave it a 15, but I've got a reasoning. I
Let's
think
hear
there
it.
are some categories of this scored very well for me. But I think this is going to be a common theme for me as we're going to be talking about, episode by episode and, as the story progresses. I don't know if I am
Don't say it.
illiterate in understanding the story.
Okay.
I just had a very hard time really understanding what was happening in the show. And I'm not saying that I didn't pay attention because of it. I actually paid attention a lot, and I was a little lost. I could understand what's happening. You ever watch a show? You ever watch a movie that you start watching, it's halfway through the movie and you're like, I could see what's happening. That's kind of how I felt this whole series.
Right.
But there's some other categories I think for this reason why I was still able to follow along really well. I think the characters in this are phenomenal. I think the rewatchability of it. I'm very looking forward to rewatching this again, just so I can understand the story more. Maybe, if this truly was a rewatch for me, I'd probably score this completely differently. But since I haven't watched this before, I just had a hard time following the story to its entirety. So that's just some understanding of why I gave it a 15.
I think I actually do give some credit to that. I don't remember the first time I watched it, and I don't mean this in like a diss to you. I was like 12 or 13, I think. But I do remember at the time watching it also kind of being like, I don't really know what's going on. It's really cool. That guy's cool though. Like there's cool stuff happening. And there was good moments. But I remember the first time I watched it and even the second time watching it being like, I don't really quite get the story. Like it seems like they're trying to do a continuation of the storyline that was brought up in Daredevil season 2. But it doesn't really seem like there's really enough there to really make a whole storyline. So they have a lot of other side stories going with it.
I'm like 50-50 on it because I understand, like I feel like a lot of that comes from they need to stretch out his backstory into like a full new story instead of what we already knew from the other shows and stuff. But from that perspective, I think they pulled it off really well. Like a lot of things that just like drag out for no reason are bad. This one is still very entertaining. Like it's confusing at times, but it never felt bad to me. You know what I mean? Like even when it was confusing, it was like, okay, I feel like, again, like a rewatch, this would make more sense, but it didn't feel like flimsy. I felt like they were actually.
I think that's where I'm at.
Decent.
Like, I think in the back of my mind, I knew that there was a cohesive story here, and I don't think I'm like all the best at really watching movies or TV shows, or even just listening to stories, one time through and understanding it completely. That's just not how my brain works. But I could recognize that there was a really good story to be told. I don't know. Something about it, I just felt like I need to watch it one more time to understand what's happening.
And it feels reliable in the way that like, I don't feel like a rewatch for this is going to be unbearable at all.
No.
You know
that's why like I wrote down in my notes.
Amazing.
100%. And we'll talk about some of the actors here in a moment. We talked about it in text. But yeah, whenever we finish this rewatch, it could be 2027, 2028. I might take a break. I don't think it's ever going to
happen, actually.
As long as they're still making movies.
I heard that the world ended and this is our purgatory and we're just we're in a loop, They're just going to keep making movies and whatever.
Well, if you're watching this for the first time, believe it or not, we actually had 8 of us on this podcast and now there's only 3 of us.
Right.
That's a great episode to go watch. There's a lot of meandering thoughts and people and
Dude, we used to have 8 people. That's wild. Can you imagine if we had 8 people sitting here right now talking about the Punisher? It would be so hard to talk about anything ever at all.
We lost more than half the team. We lost more than half the team.
We lost people even before we started watching the Netflix shows. That's the crazy part.
That's where I'm cutting off that reference.
We lost people even before the show started. That's the crazy part to me.
Yeah.
Will the Avengers won if they had Andreas with them the whole time? Probably.
We'll never know.
That's what they're going to ask.
Well, all right. So we start talking about...
Yeah, no, I was going to say something. This show, we're talking a lot about how let me tell you something, Ethan. This show, we're talking a lot about how the story is kind of lacking. And I agree 100% the story is lacking because it does feel like they are trying to stretch that kind of plot line we saw dangled in our face at the end of Daredevil. Because it feels rushed at the end of Daredevil. They kind of rushed this whole military cover-up plot line into us. And then they also kind of like drag it out too far in the show. And I think the reason it still works is because at no point is this show about uncovering the evil of the U.S. government and that maybe the CIA lies to cover up some dirty stuff they've done. From the second this show starts, the show is about Frank Castle as a human and the inside of him, and the show knows that. So I think it very much
Yeah.
knows that it doesn't necessarily have a fantastically written script in terms of story parts and story beats and when it's going to hit. But what it knows it has is it has an amazing journey for the character emotionally on the inside, and it also has phenomenal supporting cast all around. Micro
Well,
is great. The
yeah.
Micro stuff's knocked out of the park. His
I
wife,
think
Micro's
there's
wife, is great. Billy Russo's great. Madani's
Uh-huh.
great.
yeah. Well, I
Yeah,
was
and
gonna
I
say there's like
go
a
ahead, Bray.
really cool scene. I was just gonna say in that episode where it's Microchip and he's talking like the entire episode John Bernthal, right? And he's like in the basement with him.
Hmm.
He literally like points out like you're going after like all these government organizations. This doesn't make any sense. And that's the difference between him and like Punisher. Like Punisher, he's simply going after the people that did the actions.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like you're saying, he's
Hmm.
not trying to go after the corporation or anything like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He just knows the individuals that were behind these things. So I
Yeah,
just
and
thought the way that Microchip pointed that out was really cool.
mm-hmm. And just a random side note, like this is the most we've seen John Bernthal, in a show, right? It's super
In my life.
fascinating for me to see him play this type of character, because if you ever seen him on like late night television or do an interview, he's got to be one of the nicest guys ever, right? And he comes and does
Yeah.
this, and he is like, you would never believe, he's acting like it looks so legitimate coming from him. So he just does a phenomenal job. Like Wyatt, you said, the supporting cast, phenomenal acting. One thing I wanted to point out from episode 1, I even said it in the beginning, like episode 1, I kind of had a hard time understanding what the story they were telling, and I feel like that's a lot of ways you could feel about other shows. Like you're not really sure what they're planning here, or what they're trying to do. But I will say, I think they did a great job of showing that Frank Castle, mentally and emotionally is really going through it.
Hmm.
And we finally get to see, how his family died in like the most outrageous way that I like. And I feel this way for a lot of the show. Like some of the violence that is in the show, I could never imagine like being a director and like, this is how I want to portray it, like some of the most
Right.
gruesome stuff I could ever imagine. Wyatt, you might be able to imagine it. I feel like me and you are much different minded in that way. I could not, like, I don't know. Some of it was just gnarly, but I really do like the way that they portrayed Frank, in terms of, showing his past, why he is the way he is now, and especially, after faking his death, I mean, the first episode just does such a good job of, showing that, he just looks mentally insane,
Yeah. And you really see that. Like you think his acting is good, and then the flashbacks start happening. And you're
Yeah.
like, again, that's not John Bernthal. That's still like a completely different person.
Oh,
But
yeah.
between that and the Punisher we know, it's so like just different in so many vast and little ways that
Mhm.
like it's just insane to watch him in scenes. Every
Yeah.
scene's just so cool to watch.
What are you guys' thoughts about, the first 3-4 episodes, the beginning of the show coming together?
Third episode
I-
is probably my favorite.
Which one's the third particularly?
The third episode was when we get the whole flashback of what happened.
Okay, gotcha.
The
Okay,
whole
yeah,
it just cuts. They're like, "Hey, I don't think that's a good idea."
I
And
think
then
this.
it's
I
got
think
Clancy Brown.
I think that the first couple episodes of the show do a really good job at kind of setting the ball in motion, and I think they do a great job at setting the kind of like what I would consider the smaller subplot or the smaller kind of like storyline for the show is the whole PTSD. And once you get out of the service, the government doesn't really support you. All the stuff with Lewis and the support group that Curtis helps run, those kind of seeds are set very early on, and you get that great third episode that Brody likes is mentioning, where you see how little the higher ups or like the government or the ones calling the shots really think. They don't care that it's probably a trap. They don't care. And then even once they get back and everyone's all half these people are dead. The general's missing an arm. He walks in and he's like, "So did you get the target? Did you get the target?" And then Frank crashes out on him. So I think those first episodes really do a great job of kind of setting those small little plot lines in motion that we see come up in the later episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Absolutely. And I think episode 3 too is when we first get introduced to the issue of recasting, not really recasting this scenario. Eben Moss Baccarat. Let's talk
I
about
don't
that.
know. Hey, what time is it?
Not clobbering time.
Oh my god!
But like, this is a really good one because he doesn't seem like the same person at all, and he's got the full beard most of the show. What?
You sent that text about what is like the amount if you had a nickel for every
No,
time.
I know.
I just now put it together who it was.
No way.
Swear.
But like,
I'm like, what is Ethan's like Eben Moss? I was like, wait, what does he have to do with anything?
but the
I was
thing
like, who
is,
does he play? I was like, oh my goodness. Yeah, I just put it together.
he's such a different person. He has such a different appearance, at least in the beginning of the show, with the full beard and stuff, where it didn't really bother me at all. And he was a completely different character.
No,
and we also get the benefit of like
different universe.
At least Earths. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess,
might be wondering if you're watching the MCU for the first time with us, why are we talking about different universes? Oh boy, just wait. It's the greatest storyline of all time.
I just put that together, man.
Yeah, but I really thought the episode with him in the basement with Punisher, I thought that episode was like directly, they saw how much we liked that Daredevil episode, where it's just a conversation the whole episode. And they're like, okay, they're in the basement this whole episode, and it's so cool. Like the way they play off each other, and one has the upper hand and the other one has the upper hand, but they're still there. I thought that episode was really cool.
Yeah, it was done very well. What else? I'm trying to look at my notes for episode 3.
I think the stuff with Lewis is very well done too.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a great kind of general build up, very slow build up with Lewis. Slow, but at the same time, telegraphed in all the right ways. Like, this may come off weird, so let me explain a little bit. I think movies and TV shows have a very bad problem of you see things coming from a mile away. Like, oh, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. But then there's certain movies and TV shows that can do things the correct, like the perfect way, where it's good that you see it coming. From the second Lewis is on screen, you're like, oh, this guy is a ticking time bomb waiting to blow up. Like something's gonna happen. And instead of it becoming telegraphed and boring, it becomes suspenseful in a way. Like you're kind of like, oh, like Billy's not gonna give him this job. Like this is bad. Like when the audience is the only person knowing what's going on behind the scenes, it becomes less telegraphed and becomes a lot more exciting, in my opinion, and a lot more what's the word? Suspenseful, because we feel like we're in his shoes with him. Like, ooh, Lewis and us are the only characters who know about the foxhole. This is what's going to happen when it gets brought up.
Yeah.
And then when he eventually blows up and boils over, I think it's it's also a very humanizing moment for Frank. When he understands why Lewis is so pissed off at, if no one understands Lewis more than Frank, no one else who in the world knows what it feels like to be betrayed by their government post-service more than Frank Castle. So I think it's a great job of giving a very humanizing, not so much a villain, but antagonist for a couple episodes. When Frank has to go against this guy who is threatening his friends and people close to him. But he's also like, dude, I get it. Like, yeah, you're right. You are just everything he says, he's justified it in Frank's mind. So it's a very humanizing villain for Frank to come up against. Villain seems more to say.
And antagonist. That's what I'm going to say. I really do feel like this is probably the perfect example we get of a true anti-hero. Like, you could see how he's a villain to some people, and then to himself and to others, he's a hero. I don't know if it seems that way when you're watching it right directly, but it plays like the duality of an anti-hero so well.
And you
I
totally
think they
see that
did
through,
that very well.
through people's perspectives, though. Like Lieberman's the wife.
Mhm.
There's that scene when like she finds out that like Microchip's alive and stuff, right?
Mhm.
And they're talking, and he says like, "Oh, like if they're with him, he's probably like he's dead or he's killing them right now." And she's like, "I hope he does," because I feel like that's another take on that perspective of like people won't be willing to do that themselves because you have to live with that,
Mhm.
and that's part of the Punisher thing. Is like
Yeah.
he'll do it, and like Microchip gets that. He's like saying the whole thing about like, you think he likes that? Like he can't sleep, he can't do all this stuff. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
When he points it out to him. So I thought that scene was a great example of that, like shifting the perspective. She's like, no, those people are terrible. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and he's truly like the way he's painted. He's truly just out for revenge. He doesn't want, deep down, he doesn't really want to kill people, but he's had such a, not a terrible upbringing, but in the
The
prime of
Punisher?
his life. Yeah.
He wants to kill people.
Well, no. I want to explain why.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay, sorry.
if anything, if he
Oh,
wasn't in the
perfect-
military,
yeah. Yes.
if he wasn't in the military and his family didn't die as tragically as he was, I think he's going to be a nobody, really. Like he's going to help society. He's going to work, he's going to raise a family, and
Be a cop
that was it.
or something.
Yeah.
He's never really seeking power. There's
No,
times where he's
no.
seeking advantage just for safety and security reasons, but other than that, he doesn't really want any power out of it.
No. But at the same time, what he is doing, or at least in the way that he's doing it, is terrible. Do they deserve it? I feel like that's kind of a moral question that, you need to ask yourself as you're watching it and even after you watch the show,
Yeah, and there was that episode that really tackled that well, where you're not getting the flashbacks, but you're getting like those weird dream sequences
Mm-hmm.
of him dancing with his wife and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And there's that question at the end of it where she stops saying the stuff.
That was later in the season, right? That was like episode 10?
Yeah, it's when he's like bleeding out after being tortured
Yes.
by
Oh,
So
no,
I
think it was
probably
12.
it's the
It was, like,
episode
at the
right
very
before
end.
the finale.
Yeah,
The episode
yeah.
right before the
Yeah.
finale. But like that's what the season's like leading towards with what you're saying, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And then she finally doesn't say the words that we've heard in the flashbacks and stuff.
Yeah.
And she's like, is your home here in the house, or is it out there fighting people?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And he's like, you know that. And she's like, I don't know that. And he ends up fighting that dude with the weird eye.
his home's out
You know what I mean?
there. Because he's the
So-
big bad Punisher.
Well, that's the decision that he ends up making. You see
Uh-huh.
that with like the dream sequence. And I
Yeah.
thought the separation between what the dream sequences were and the flashbacks was
Mhm.
super fascinating. And like
Yeah,
that's the thing. Like a whole episode will be in a basement or in one room for like most of the episode, but you're getting these like slight cutaway things with the flashbacks, with the memories that totally add a whole nother layer to the episode. And then you have people saying things in like the flashbacks that like correlate with what's going on now,
Mhm.
like what it's making them think of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just so fascinating. There was also that one where he's trying to fight the guy that sent him on the mission. And he's
Mhm.
saying like he deserves to die and stuff.
Yeah.
And they're having the fight and he's saying like the same stuff back at him. Like it's just really great correlation because I know a lot of shows that do flashbacks and they're just thrown in. They just film two separate things and they just cut them up and it doesn't
Mhm.
really correlate together and make like a complete episode. This show handles flashbacks really, really well.
Well, and I think from, scenes like that and just some of the episodes just like that, then you start to understand the show is written very well. And for someone like me,
Yes.
that is the sign to me, maybe I'm not understanding this completely. Maybe there's a deeper
Yeah.
meaning here that I need to rewatch this again to like truly appreciate this season.
The other thing was I really thought going into this, like I thought it might be cool, but I wasn't expecting the writing to be on this level because I thought like Punisher's just like the cool guy. You know what I mean? Like I knew it was going to be like entertaining, and John Bernthal's an amazing actor, but people just kind of like describe them. I guess he is more like Rambo, like the first movie Rambo.
Yeah.
But I was kind of expecting just like, oh, he's a cool action star, die hard kind of guy, and the show's like way more somber than I expected it to be. But when they do get to the action is really entertaining every time.
Mhm.
Like, personally, I would probably like be out of it if it was just like the same, like they're throwing blood everywhere. You mean?
Well, and
Like they're doing that kind of stuff, but
I was
there's
gonna comment on
always
that.
some like gimmick. They're like,
Well,
okay,
it-
in this scene, his hand's gonna be tied to that. In this scene, they're
Yeah.
gonna be on a carousel, and it makes you
It
remember
ties
this
back.
fight way better.
Not ties back, but I don't know if you remember in the Daredevil episode, I talked about how the difference in the way the Daredevil fights and Punisher fights is used very well in their show. Daredevil's a lot more, not so much of a ninja, but he's hiding in the shadows and a lot of quick strikes, whereas Punisher was used to get much more show out of it, you know? And I feel like in this
Mhm.
show, they knew that, and they knew that if every scene was Frank just screaming and bashing someone and with the closest object he can find, yeah, as cool as it would be, it'd become boring. So like you guys said, there's always that sort of gimmick. And I think the show does a good job, but there's really not a lot of fighting at all. It
No.
works, it's a lot of like them so much talking and a lot of great dialogue and stuff like that, and then all gearing up for one big fighting moment. Or the fights are flashback fights, which work well because it allows you to have fights without having story notes in your fights. Like you can have an episode where Frank and Mike Rowe are talking in a basement, but at the same time, Frank is also having action and fighting. Like that scene when he's fighting those terrorists, potentially, you know, I actually don't know what
Mhm.
they're fighting for in the moment. I don't want to inject myself into the political
episode
state
3
right
one?
there. Yeah. I'll stay out of
Is
the
that the one you're talking
politics. When Frank is fighting the enemy, he's on balls to the wall, ape crazy, which is good because then when your real actual cut back to modern time episode, you don't have to actually take away from what Frank's doing because it's not happening at the same time.
And it
I feel like you could
avoids
talk
just-
about politics today. The world isn't political at all.
Yeah.
I don't think you got my joke.
I'm stuck on a freeze frame right now.
No, I got it.
But-
I just didn't really have a
Yeah, I
comment
don't-
after the fact.
That episode was insane, dude. That's the better part of it. That's the real punchline. But but yeah, and also in that scene, it has the song playing.
We haven't talked. We got to talk
Which,
about it.
like-
We haven't talked about it at all.
We got to
I
talk
was
about the
gonna-
music stuff.
Oh. Oh, and the music, yeah.
You okay?
Yeah,
You
I
guys
was
talk
gonna
about
say-
whatever.
lagging.
Talk about whatever.
I was just saying
A
the
little
music
bit.
stuff.
I was
I
saying we
thought-
haven't
like in
we
episode
haven't talked
3, that
about
scene where he's
Billy
fighting.
at all. Let's talk about the music first.
Dude, Billy's such a good actor. Like there were moments where I was like watching his acting more than John Bernthal's.
Mm-hmm.
Like straight up, as much as I love John Bernthal, to
He's
watch
in
someone
T-Mobile
new that I'm
commercials
not
now.
as familiar with, is he? That explains it. That is a talented, seasoned actor right there.
Yeah,
When you get a deal like that, that's when you get your Shaqs. You know what I mean? Doing the general. But no, I literally wrote down John Bernthal is amazing, but so is Ben Barnes, Billy Russo. Because he was awesome to watch, especially in that finale.
Yeah, I would 100% agree. And you guys were talking about how, you know, there wasn't actually that much fighting in it. And I think to me, as a guy who gets very stressed out, I think there was so much military-esque, like, tactical parts of the fights. There was a lot of tension and buildup. And I think that's why you feel like the fights, you know, hit that much more. Not just because of the gruesome nature of it, but just like the buildup. Because you know something's going to happen. You're not sure what. And then when it does, you're like kind of caught off guard because we're so used to, you know, like I think Wyatt, you said it, the other Netflix shows, you know, they're rated mature, TV 14, something like that. Not TV 14. It's got to be mature, right?
TVMA. I'm pretty sure
It is kind of like the same simple fighting. I would say maybe the only other person that's very creative about, you know, causing harm and violence is Kingpin, but it's just so interesting to see, like the build up, build up, build up. You think you know what's going to happen, and then just the nature of what they do is so unique.
But and the fact that like everyone's super talented and it's like believable. They're not like just being like this person's really good at what they do and so you have to just like trust that. It's like no, like we've seen previous things. Like in that last I think it's in the last episode when it's Billy has the sniper at the apartment. Or not Billy, Punisher's pointing the sniper at Billy in the apartment. And like you're on Billy's side. You're like, I know he's good with that sniper. And he waves the knife or whatever he's holding and he like shoots it right away. Like they do such a good job at just showing like these people are like lethal. Like it is if they get the upper hand for 1 second, the fights switch over to who's winning.
Yeah.
They lean both ways. It's crazy.
Let's talk about the intro music. What are you guys' thoughts? I'm always a big critique of the intro music. I thought it was good.
I like it.
I don't really have much more to say than that. It's kind of like a riff on like a villain of a western almost. I can't really describe it more than that, but that's just kind of the vibe that I got, listening to it every time. And I always wanted to listen to it when it comes on. I always kind of rank the intro song on like how fast do I want to click, skip intro on Disney Plus. And I never really felt it that way.
Yeah, I would like just go to off instinct from skipping intros. And then like I hear like the first like few notes and I'm like, okay. I'll listen to it while I do something else just to let the episode start.
Yeah, listening to it 13 times can get a bunch. I'm not going to lie, I did it a couple times. But there's other ones, like I hear it once, I'm like, no, turn it off. I don't want to listen to that,
That happened to me with the Daredevil one later on.
Oh, no.
I love the theme.
Yourself.
I love the theme. But it was, I'd watched it a lot of times, back to back.
I know we were bagging a little bit on the writing itself being not the best. And I think the actual story notes that it hits and like the story plot points aren't the greatest. But I think there is a lot of really great symbolism and stuff like that in the writing. Like, I think that the whole idea that you get your main characters, Frank and Micro, who Micro is doing everything he can to make himself innocent so he can get his family back. And who does he need to help him? He needs Frank, a guy whose whole driving factor is his whole family's dead. And Micro's only chance to get his family back is with the help of Frank. And the same thing with Frank's whole mission, his whole quest is I gotta kill every single person remotely involved in the death of my family whatsoever. And who's the very last person he has to kill but Billy Russo, a guy who, until that very moment, he would have considered his family. One of the last family members he has left. So I think there's a lot of cool moments like that, a lot of interesting little writing points.
Well, I totally got that with Microchip's family. Like, since we don't have Punisher's family to lean on sometimes, like, I found it interesting that he's also got the daughter in the boy, you know what I mean?
It's a great writing technique.
About the same age as they were in the flashbacks.
The way I see it, it's a great way to make us seemingly connect the two. Like, we don't necessarily really care about Frank's family at all. We don't know what they really look like or their names at all. Obviously, the idea of it is tremendously tragic, and we can picture what it would be like to lose your wife and your 2 kids after what Frank has gone through. And that's what you lean on when it's like, oh wow, that's what you lean on for those hard kind of emotional heartstrings. But when you can throw a family like that, where at times you kind of forget that's not Frank's family, when you can give him a fake wife, you can give him a fake kid, you can give him a fake daughter and son who are the same general age, it allows you to kind of, put 2 and 2 together in your mind and kind of seemingly, I don't know what the right word is, kind of draw that connection in your brain. So you lean on them more emotionally because that's like Frank's daughter as Frank's son pretty much now.
Yeah. And it just kept like triggering in my head because story-wise, when that's introduced, it's going one or two ways. You know what I mean? It's either they have them die, so it's replicating the same issue and being like, oh, this is just carrying on the violence, or
never like,
they
oh, it's
live
gonna.
and they're redeeming it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like you never really knew what they were gonna do with that family because they threw some loops in there where you didn't know exactly what was going on. So that just like you're saying, it was just really good emotional bait for the show. And I thought the kids at the end that he saves on the carousel, I thought them being a boy and a girl was interesting again. Like I know they're not brother and sister, but I thought that was interesting that they were like younger people again. I think it's interesting to have a character that's so like violent, you know what I mean? Be associated with like saving like younger people. You know what I mean? It's not his like main thing and it doesn't redeem what happened to him, but it still like reminds you like, oh yeah, he was a dad. You know what I mean?
It also keeps that hard line that he's an anti-hero, not a villain. You know? Because he's killing all these people, doing whatever he can to get to his target. But then once they have like a hostage or an innocent person in harm's way, he's like, whoa, whoa. I give you my gun. I give you my gun. So that's a nice good little aspect to use a lot too.
Well,
in the show, I feel
and
like.
I feel like, especially for a character like Frank Castle, where oftentimes you see a trope of the anti-hero or somebody who's constantly seeking revenge, where they say that they have to say the line, you know, if no one's going to do it, I'm going to do it, right? He never says that, but he shows
I'm
it in
doing
his
this for my
actions
dead
over and
wife.
over one. Yeah.
And that's the other thing about the violence, is since we didn't really know his family, the only way we know how much he did care about them is you see how brutal he is with attacking these people. And each like punch is how much he is hurt on the inside, you know what I mean?
At the exact same time, like...
Yeah, but at the same time, they show you in the military, he always had that in him.
Which I think is another reason he makes that decision.
Yeah, which is I think I think I don't know if important's the right way, but I think it's a good little part for that character to have. You know, that kind of idea that he was always kind of.
You can't really pinpoint where it's coming from.
Yeah. It's not like his wife and kid died, and all of a sudden, oh, now he's that much more of a cold-blooded killer. You have that. Oh, he was always this killer. Now his tether to the world's gone. You know, now he's donezo.
Yeah, and I feel like, you know, when we watched Daredevil, we had this idea, you know, of how they were killed. But then when you see it, you're like, this is awful, you know? Like probably the most horrific way that your wife and kids can die. And
dude, it's so much worse than I thought.
I know.
I thought it was like hostage situation something. It's so worse that they bait you the first few times with that flashback. And it was like, hey, this is just a morning. You know what I mean? It's just another morning. And they really get you with that.
And for a guy like myself who's not a particular fan of home invasions, it did freak me out a little bit.
Call him crazy.
I can deal with a lot of, you know, other high stress situations. Home invasions really stress me out.
Dude, that's like number one horror things right there. Even in movies and like shows, I'm like, this is going too far. Writers got to stop.
Well, I think we're going to take a break here to talk about our sponsors, and then we'll be back to finish talking about The Punisher. This episode is sponsored by Effortless Expeditions, a Disney-centered travel agency, here to help you plan your next Disney vacation. Contact them today for a free, no-obligation quote. Wherever the destination is, they make the experience truly effortless. And while we're on the topic of making things effortless, this episode of The Sacred Rewatch is also brought to you by Bronson Made, a digital marketing and branding agency, here to help businesses grow and stand out. With the idea of our canvas, your story, Bronson Made makes the creative process simple, collaborative, and effective. Find out more at bronsonmade.com or follow them on Instagram or LinkedIn at Bronson Made. We'll be back in just a moment. And we are back. All right, guys, what are some lingering thoughts you guys have about The Punisher? Maybe just for the show, where he's going to go in the future. We haven't really talked about the finale yet. So what are you guys thinking about, you know, the show and the character as a whole?
Well, it's hard for me to talk about what I think happens in the future because I know what happens in the future for the character.
That's fair.
But from what I remember season 2 being good. I think it leans on some of what Frank is best at. And I won't necessarily say that, but well, I won't say what it is. But I think what they have Frank doing in season 2 is kind of like what the actor and the character are best at doing together for the role.
Mhm.
So I think that's nice. Season 2 definitely has a bit more uh bit my cheek, scene for scene violence, I would say, in season 2, and it's a good amount. It's a lot more common for Frank to be shooting his gun at someone, which is nice. It's the Punisher, so I think there's a good little balance there. It's kind of all I'll say.
Well, one thing I do want to say, so we're not really beating around the bush. Give some context of where we are right now. This show came out in 2017. Came out before the events of Infinity War and Endgame. For the most part, we don't really get any of these Netflix characters. We do a little bit, but can't really talk about the entirety. But we do know that some of the characters and actors haven't really been confirmed to be coming back to where we are in the current MCU. We're really in a holding period right now before Doomsday. But I haven't watched, season 4 or really the renewed version of Daredevil. Why I wanted you to keep your thoughts to yourself, and I think this is kind of what you're alluding to. I do have a good conscious belief that this character is coming back, mostly for what they've been filming with Spider-Man. Brody, I don't know how much you
I don't
know
what
either.
you're talking about. What do you mean? I'm the news guy. I know all about this.
Well, I'm just saying, because you haven't seen
Wait.
season 4 of Daredevil, have you, Brody?
There's a Spider-Man
No,
movie.
but I know stuff.
We just watched one.
Who's Spider-Man?
Well,
you're too far ahead and you're too far
It's Peter
behind.
Parker. We
Right.
can't talk about that just yet.
Peter Parker, Spider-Man, the guy who take pictures for that newspaper.
For all we
No,
know, the
again,
Punisher
that's
could
a
be
whole different thing.
The
For all we know-
photographer, that photographer is Spider-Man.
For all we know, the
You have a whole
Punisher
nother
could have the
universe.
Reality Stone. We still have no idea how the Infinity Stones are coming together.
That little
Wouldn't it be
scrawny
crazy?
blonde kid.
He's like, the reason this marriage is so important, look at this wedding ring, and it's all shiny. And we're like, oh my God. That'd be crazy. It'd be like in oh, never mind. That's a whole nother, I think that's another franchise. I was going to jump over to DC. by
I do
accident.
want to say, we haven't really talked about it directly. Episode 6, I would classify it as the Punisher meme. I loved it. I didn't realize it was coming this season,
Is that when he says
so I
the
was
wait,
very
wait,
happy
wait?
to see it.
Oh, yeah.
As
You're happy
somebody
to
who
watch his whole family get shot.
No. As somebody
You were
who
happy to watch
often
him and Micro's whole family get their head shot, exploded open on
Because
Thanksgiving.
it's
that
your
made you
funny
happy to
little
watch.
meme.
That
That's
was your
what you're
funny
saying.
little. That was your funny
Your
little meme.
Funny
for the-
little
wow.
Facebook meme is a
okay,
fan
but
of
somebody
Margaret.
who often scrolls a little too long on TikTok.
Somebody who often watches videos like that. You thought it was really cool and you
No.
loved it. I don't like that. I don't like that. As
It
a
gave me a
co-host.
good
As a
chuckle.
co-host,
It gave me a good
as a
chuckle
co-host,
before I
that
watched
made
what
me Feel a
happened.
little weird.
That scene
No,
is
no.
just what Wyatt felt when we started the episode and he still had to go to the bathroom. That was Wyatt.
Wait.
He was like, wait. That was Wyatt.
I hear this thing of
And,
rewatch music blaring way too loud in my headphones. Like, no.
Right? It's just blasting the main music.
What other memeable moments can you guys point out that you guys like?
Memeable moments.
This one isn't a meal moment, but it's pretty funny. I forgot it existed. Is when they're driving in the van for the first time, and he makes Frank the MRE, and he hands it to Frank, and Frank's eating it, and then he pulls over, and David leans down and pulls up a comedically large sub sandwich, it's this big. He's eating it, and Frank looks at him, and he's like, "Where's mine?" He's pissed off. He's like, "Where's mine?" He's like, "I didn't make you one." He's like, "I thought you liked those things, the MREs." He's like, "I don't like them." I thought it was funny. I thought the idea that he likes the taste of MREs because he used to serve in the military is really funny.
Does anybody truly like MREs? Probably not.
I don't think
haven't
I've
served
actually
in the
had
military.
one.
Maybe next episode we can prep an MRE before we get on the podcast, and then we eat it while we're on the episode.
That'd be next level.
I'll pick beef
Punisher
stroganoff
season 2.
for you, Wyatt. You look like a guy that loves a beef stroganoff MRE.
I'm cool for getting stroganoff.
All right.
That's pretty good.
What other memeable moments?
I think any moment's a memeable moment because it's got good actors, and most memes are just like the best acted scenes taken out of context. That's
Mhm.
usually what they are. That's why there's so many
That's a
Breaking
good
Bad
point.
memes and stuff.
And that's exactly why I said what I said, you know? It's
Well,
a
yours was a little
hilarious moment
different
taken out of
and
context.
morbid
No. Don't give me
and
that. Don't give
Yours
me
was
that.
pretty. Yours was, I would say yours was concerning, morbid, and unsettling.
right.
All right.
I think that's why you rate a little lower than us. You enjoyed the show a little
Yeah.
too much, and you said, let's dial it down.
You texted me privately, and you said, I wish there was more corruption by the U.S. military and using these soldiers to do its dirty work for them. That's what you said. You wish there was more scenes
That's
of that.
exactly
Yeah.
what I said,
I
actually.
got one that said, I hope halfway through the season they reveal that Punisher had a second family that also died, but more brutal. That's what I thought. That's what I thought the second season was going to be set up.
Yeah.
He said that in the work Slack. And I was like, Ethan, this is not what
What?
Slack is used for.
Yeah, we've got a
All
work
true.
Slack. All of that's true.
Other than
I don't even know
memeable
how to use
moments,
Slack. I've never used Slack in my life.
That's why we were shocked. I was like, wow, first, it had the first chatter thing next to it. I was like, wow.
But
Okay.
other than memeable moments, we didn't talk about Karen. Karen shows
Yeah.
up.
I
think she's really great.
We haven't really talked about how this really
Karen
ties into
Schmarren.
the MCU like that we've seen.
Karen
I will say
Schmarren?
before we talk about Karen, I don't think there was a single mention of the Battle of New York, where every other season we've watched of Netflix shows has a mention of Battle of New York.
Because
We made
Frank
it.
realistically does not care about the Battle of New York. It didn't
got
Do you
involve
think he could take on a Chitauri?
one Chitauri versus the Punisher.
20 years ago,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think the Punisher wins.
How many Chitauri does it take the Punisher down?
3 to 4.
What kind of weapons does Frank have?
Couple
His
guns.
hands?
No. I was giving him some guns. I was giving him
If
like
it-
the traditional. I was giving him traditional comic book Punisher, where he has like the 2 SMG look, where he's the 2 SMGs. He's like,
If the question wasn't so damn long, I
Whoa,
feel like
whoa,
it'd be a great title.
rewind.
How many
rewind,
Chitauri
rewind,
does it take to take Frank Castle down?
Rewind.
100.
How is Black Widow putting him down? Was she just bang dead?
Pretty much.
Oh, it might take like 7 to 8 Chitauri to take down Frank.
Is that because she's a woman? What?
No, it's because she was using.
He's getting you back for the dinner scene.
He's trying.
You heard it here, folks.
He's trying to ready, but it's because she
Wyatt
was
hates
using
the
a
Avengers.
handgun. She was using a handgun and taser wrist blasters, and Frank would be using a fully automatic P90, and probably the arm of another Chitauri he ripped off with his bare teeth, and then yelled.
And you have to remember that Natasha is also a little bit
And I don't
not
think
fully
Frank would
super
be,
serum, but she does have
Frank-
a little something.
and Frank probably wouldn't be PMSing, so he probably wouldn't be thinking about shopping in Sephora, so he'd probably do a little better too, Ethan. Is that what you want me to tell you?
That's crazy. That's wild. I can't believe you said that.
He didn't
All right.
hear it.
We're
He
moving.
didn't
That was
hear
only
it.
2 people on the
We're
podcast.
moving on.
He wasn't
We're
even
moving on.
listening.
I was gonna ask. Well, I guess Wyatt can't answer this.
Oh wow.
Do you think Punisher's
Vegas for
gonna
next episode.
find peace?
You cut out. Can you say it one more time?
I cut out.
No, you're
Yeah.
good. You're good. Continue.
I was just gonna say, do you think Punisher will find peace at all? Like he can't really, but will he find some sort of resolution at the end of all this?
Yeah, I think he'll find some resi.
Well, you can't answer.
I have a thought.
Okay.
I think the Punisher finds peace. Frank Castle finds peace when he dies, and he says it almost directly. I think it was episode 12.
You think he's like Wolverine? Who doesn't?
Yeah.
Who may ever not die. I'm not saying Wolverine dies, but as long as the Wolverine's kicking, he's gonna be fighting. Type.
Pretty
yeah,
much.
and I feel like though Well, we haven't really watched any Wolverine yet up in this sacred rewatch.
Yeah, but we know who he is.
Yeah.
Never heard of him.
I feel like though it's for different reasons. You know?
No,
Do you feel that way?
it's just that it goes back to that trope of this kind of like you can't stop the Punisher. Like you can't stop what's in his heart. You can't stop what keeps the Wolverine going. You can't stop what gets Spider-Man
But
going.
that's the thing. The Wolverine has tried to stop going, but he physically can't. The Punisher can die.
No, the Wolverine
know?
can die too.
That is different. Yeah.
We'll have to talk about it in the year 2026 when we
Now
watch it.
see, we're debating stuff that's no correlation to the actual conversation at all now. Yeah, do you think the Punisher... So do you think I think he can't stop.
That's what I'm saying. He
Yeah.
can't stop until he dies. That's
Yeah.
when he dies, that's when he finds peace.
Okay.
But it's tough. I don't know what death would also be a resolution for his character.
In my culture, death is not the end.
That's a great quote.
That's a
Wyatt.
good Marvel quote. It's a good Marvel quote. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, okay. This
Nice.
is an interesting question. I know we're like an hour in now. Is there a single person that the Punisher could kill that Frank would actually feel like he's done everything?
Captain America. Oh wait, I thought you meant that he would feel bad.
Like he's done everything?
No. Like that. Like he can finally rest.
No, he loves it. He's doing it for the love of the game.
What if everyone just started being like a nice guy to him? What would he do? That's his weakness. What if everybody was like, "Hey,
because that's when he becomes
have
a
a good
bad.
day."
Because he's not a hero. He's not a hero. He would start. I think he would start nitpicking a little bit. He'd be
Right.
like, "Hey,
keep working at construction sites"?
You dropped that Feastables bar right there." And then like he
That's
beating the hell out of the guy. I'm trying to plug.
That's where he
And then
draws the line.
And then he'd get like the hell beat out of him with a crowbar. And then he'd see a guy walking. He's like, "Hey, you're not following Bronson Maid on Instagram, are you?"
Mm-hmm.
And the guy would be like, "No." And the Punisher would kill him. I think he was sort of
Justified crash out, dare I say?
Yeah, I think you would be a justified crash out for not following at Bronson Maid on Instagram at Effortless Expeditions.
And checking out the brand new website.
The Punisher, he needs to do it, you know? It's in his blood. He's the big bad Punisher, as he would say.
Makes sense. I'm just interested where the story's going.
Dude, I wish he
Like,
was
I
in
feel
the
like he could just
Marvel
stick around
zombies.
forever. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing. I feel like he's a character that, like, is always constantly interesting in any scene, in any situation. Like, I feel like that's how, like, Spider-Man is. Like, Spider-Man can stick around forever. He can be in any scenario, and he can usually find a way to make it interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like
No matter who
Punisher
he's...
is one of these, especially with this actor.
Yeah, but I say, no matter who he's interacting with in a scene, it has then becomes interesting because that character is now interacting with John Bernthal as an actor on screen. You know,
Exactly.
a lot of like same way like Ryan Gosling kind of has that effect with no matter what role he's playing, he has chemistry with whoever he's on scene with. It doesn't matter if you were to throw up Gamora onto screen or Nebula, you'd instantly be like, "Well, this is interesting. What is the character we've already seen established of Frank Castle going to say to Nebula? Like that would be interesting to watch. What is Frank gonna say to
Good one.
Rocket?" So there's a good little like you get a lot of benefit when you have a character so strong like that, where you can kind of just plug him in with whatever you want, and it instantly becomes interesting. It allows you to keep him along for a while. Like I feel like we kind of see that going on with Bucky right now. Bucky's become that kind of
Yeah.
character where fans love Bucky. The character of Bucky is so self-contained that he never once really needed his own kind of like show to have that platform. So now you can kind of throw Bucky in whenever you need to throw Bucky in, and he instantly has chemistry with someone on screen. We instantly have an emotional connection with him, and it instantly kind of like pulls us in and draws our attention right away. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Wyatt, you said it as a joke, but like, it is kind of a question that you bring that up now. Like, what would a conversation between Captain America and the Punisher be like? Because I feel like
Comic book wise, the Punisher loves Captain America.
Mm.
He's like that is his guy.
Yeah, I mean, Captain America was out here killing people.
Like, if they shot Cap's ear and Cap was like, don't do that, Punisher would be all up in arms. He would be 100% Team
Dude.
Cap. No one touch Cap. He'd have the
Let
gauze on his
Punisher
ear and
borrow the
everything.
shield for 5 seconds. 500 people would die. It'd be over. It'd be over.
But
be like, this
drama. Wait, drama alert. Ethan, give me a drama alert. Cap
I'll put a drama alert right now.
Cap doesn't really like the Punisher. He thinks he's kind of not based.
What?
Yeah. It'd be like never meet your heroes. Like if you fanboyed out Ethan over, I don't know, Troy Bolton, like Zac Efron. And he was like, hey, I don't really mess with you, kid. Like, you're not, I think you're kind of lame. He'd be mad.
Use pistols instead of Uzis.
He's more of
That's what he
don't
said.
kill at all. And Frank was, Punisher's
What?
like, I'm
Captain
gonna
America
kill.
kills?
Punisher? I barely know her.
Oh, dude. Completely unrelated, but related to the show, and I have to talk about it.
We're already at unrelated. Go for it.
It's
Come
related.
on.
It's back to the show.
Okay.
I realized...
Get us related.
Okay. I realized the show was absolute peak cinema when someone woke up in a bed. I don't even remember what scene it was, and it showed the stuff on the shelf. And laying there was a model of an N1 Naboo starfighter from episode 1, which is the greatest ship of all time.
I saw
And
it.
I was like,
I instantly was like,
I'm hooked. I was like, this show, perfect. That's that's the real reason I'm even here. I wouldn't have shown up if that didn't happen.
Hey, Ethan, interesting thought an hour and 8 minutes in. Is this the first Netflix show where Claire doesn't show up at all?
Yes.
True.
Wow.
I was waiting.
Hey,
to be honest,
so far,
episode 12 comes around, and I'm
You're
like,
gonna-
she's
you're
going to
gonna
show up.
You're going to be pissed when they reveal that Stick is the Black Sky in season 2.
No, I actually have no gripe with Claire. I think it's good that she pops up everywhere.
Dude.
No.
I think
Stick, though. He's dead, though.
This is
Moment
what I'll
to
say.
rejoice.
Maybe thought here. I think the Punisher sustains injuries that Claire can't really do anything about. You know, like
he's just sitting there. He's
they're
just
they
fully blood.
wheeling a Punisher in who's been shot 18 times and has just been stabbed 19 times into Claire.
He looks like the Kool-Aid man. Like, oh, that's blood. Oh my God.
There's blood leaking out of his face. Like he's like talking and just being spat out in that end scene. And Claire's like duplex, and she's just like, I can't do anything.
Okay, well, Wyatt, you can answer this. Try to answer it without talking about the future. The MCU is kind of notorious for rewriting what happens in the comics to kind of fit their story. And we've seen it with a couple characters now. Can you guys still hear me? The internet says it's reconnecting.
I can't really hear you. It's really robot-y.
Yeah, it's choppy for me.
I could hear you until the very end. I was trying so hard to do it.
I was like listening like so carefully.
Just continue the conversation until my internet connects.
Dude, it sounds like, you know what it sounds like?
Boss
It sounds
man.
like
How about
Herbie's
now?
lullaby. Yes,
How
we
about
can
now?
hear you now.
We can hear you.
Okay.
Hello, Hal.
I'm trying to remember my question. Oh. Yes.
Thanks,
Okay.
Brody.
I like that one.
Thank you.
Is there a way that the MCU can write it in? Because like you said, he's gone through some pretty gruesome injuries. Is there a way that the Frank Castle could be a super powered individual?
Nope.
And really
I
what
hope
I'm
not.
getting to is a mutant or an inhuman. Is there a way?
No, because he doesn't need to be. Because fans don't like when things get changed, not necessarily for better or for worse for a character, but fans don't like when things get changed when they don't need to. Like, you don't need to make the Punisher a mutant for him then to have sustained the injuries he has, for fans to then be, yeah, that makes sense, that's cool. Because then what's going to happen is you have fans going instantly, that's so stupid, he was never a mutant, why is he a mutant? The Punisher gets to sustain those injuries because he's the Punisher. Like, his power is he quite literally just cares more. Like he wants it more.
Yeah.
And as a comic book fan, you have Thor flying around with Mjolnir and his cape. You kind of have to be like, yeah, you gotta be like, that's whatever. Like the Punisher gets to do that. He can take those hits. He can come out of a fight as bloodied he was at the end of episode 11, and you just kind of have to take it and wear it. I feel like you get more pushback when you change it and write it some way to allow that to make sense within the confines of your pre-established universe.
But doesn't it seem almost unfair that somebody as normal as Frank Castle, in terms of superpowered abilities, that they're able to
He is a
sustain...
U.S. Marine. He's a superhero to me.
Wow,
That's
that's
good.
emotional. Wow, that's gonna be our thumbnail right there. Wyatt Saludi.
It's amazing. But yeah, I agree with that.
No,
I think it's
I don't know.
better if it's just his
I don't really think
determination.
it's
Like he has stuff to do on Earth. Like he won't leave it. He's like, no, I still have like
he's like a
12 more
Green
people to kill.
Lantern, but for hoodlums and thieves.
Mm.
Go on.
Yeah, Wyatt, enlighten us about the Green Lantern.
Because I kind of got lost there with that example.
Okay,
Which
so what
Green
is a
Lantern
Green-
are we talking about?
No. Not a Green Lantern, the idea of a Green Lantern. What is a Green Lantern?
Okay.
I know Ethan doesn't know because he refuses to watch anything that's not Marvel, so he's yet to consume a piece of DC media whatsoever.
Nope,
Green Lantern.
Not true.
Ethan,
Not true.
Doom Patrol.
Guy
Guy Gardner. Yeah. The
guy that plays in that cop show.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nathan Fillion. He's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yes.
Green Lanterns. You are sworn by oath. It's like something. Green Lantern's light. Something. And they do an oath.
It's almost like you knew it verbatim.
Your oath is to protect this planet. Like Hal Jordan is taking an oath to protect Earth. I'm saying, like, I was just saying, like, the Punisher's, he's like the Green Lantern, but instead of protecting Earth, it's like killing street level criminals. Like, he just has to do it.
But like again, that's like what that whole scene was about with like the dream
His wife
sequence.
and all that.
Like he was literally given the option, like, "Hey, take my hand and you can die now. You can just give up."
He could die and go be with her in the afterlife, or he can go finish his damn job, and he got work to do.
That's right. He's got a season 2 to do.
Because if he's gone, Ethan, who's left to punish? We got Avengers. We don't got Punishers.
That's right.
Who is left to punish?
Thank
Let
you,
me think about that. I'm gonna say Stick. Stick's a good Punisher replacement.
No, who's gonna be doing the punishing?
Stick. He's the savior of our universe.
Oh, I heard Shang-Chi's not so much now recently. He's pretty free. You can do it.
That's a bad dig.
He's
Simu Liu, you have an open invite to this podcast if you'd like to join.
But just to talk about the Barbie movie. That's the only thing we'll talk about with you.
And Man Up Tomorrow. We'll talk about Man Up Tomorrow.
Maybe. Simu Liu, this is directly to you. If you want to be on our very first Patreon episode where we're going to review Velocipaster.
No, I'll be honest.
We'll bring Wyatt back, or we'll bring Andreas back.
If he's on the show, it's a main episode.
Yeah. We can't do Velocipaster with them.
Who knows? Maybe he wants to do that. He may not want to talk about anything about the MCU. He may just want to talk about
20 years,
Velocipaster.
Maybe
Shang-Chi.
Maybe him and Andreas will hit it off.
Well, all right, guys. I think we've kind of ended our conversation on the Punisher. Let's talk about what we've got coming up. Next week, we've got Jessica Jones season 2, but I'd also like to, take a step back and look at, we've still got a lot of TV shows to go. We've got Jessica Jones season 2, like I said, Luke Cage season 2, Iron Fist season 2, Daredevil season 3, and then we finally get the second season to The Punisher, followed by Jessica Jones season 3. Brody, I know Wyatt's not on or listening right now, and from what I understand, all those shows I've just mentioned, you have not seen any of those, right?
Nope. All these Netflix shows are first timers.
So this is a good conversation for you and me. Do you think The Punisher will show up in any of those seasons?
Punisher season 2?
Besides Punisher season 2.
Honestly, I hope not. Now that
Okay.
I've seen Punisher season 1, I'm like dialed in on his story being his story.
Yeah.
I feel like if anything, we could use a little bit more connective tissue between him and Jessica Jones.
Mm.
And because I kind of need something new in Jessica Jones to get me back into that show.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know if they would have those overlap at all.
Well, and you bring that up, like, as we do look for the future, and especially next week, I am very interested to see, what they do with Jessica Jones season 2. I've got quite the grind coming up. If you can't tell, I haven't started Jessica Jones season 2.
Neither have I.
But I am interested.
Yeah,
have you started
I haven't
Jessica Jones
started
season 2?
either. Nope.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I had to go to the bathroom again.
No, it's okay. It seems like we've
Don't
got
you do
quite the
that,
grind
Brady.
coming up this next week. Do you guys have any other thoughts about the future of the MCU and where we're going?
Dude,
what a
I'm
broad
excited
sweeping
for all of
statement.
it.
Well,
I'm
as
excited for all of it.
as we're starting to make some serious progress on these TV shows, we may wait till the very last Netflix show to do a full ranking. May even make a whole video out of it, or we'll
I think
maybe
we
next
should.
week we'll see where we're at. You do a little quick update of where we're at with the
We
rankings.
can do a whole game show about just the TV shows. We can have them all fight each other. We can pin them against each other.
That's
I think that'd be a good
Brady, that's
episode.
an excellent idea. We're gonna do that after Jessica Jones season 3. We're gonna have our own episode just talking about all.
Wow,
the
we just got
shows.
promoted, Brady. Welcome aboard, man. How do you like the sound of CEO?
Whoa.
All right, that's enough, guys. That's going to do it for this episode of The Sacred Rewatch. We hope you enjoyed diving back in the timeline with us. New recap episodes are coming out every week leading up to Avengers Doomsday. Wherever you are in the multiverse, thanks for making The Sacred Rewatch part of your journey for all time, always. See you guys.